Hi, I'm Blaine Hone. I'm the Director of International Programs at Stevens Henniger College. And I'm the Director of International Programs at Stevens Henniger College. And we are here on site in Hyderabad, India, recruiting students directly to our programs. The flagship programs that we offer are the master degree programs, including Master of Information Systems, Master of Business Administration, and Master of Healthcare Administration. And these programs, these master degree programs, are all work-study programs. We invite our students, not just invite, but require our students to participate in what's called a Curricular Practical Training, or CPT program. That means that as part of our programs, our students are going to be working for one of our off-campus partner employer companies. They'll be earning a living wage from which they can pay their tuition or do other things. But the primary interest in having these CPT opportunities is to gain the valuable learning experience that comes from an integrated work experience with our curriculum. All of our partner employers have agreed to work directly with our school to help train the valuable job skills that they'll be needing for the course and for their career. So I'm going to go ahead and invite some students in. I'll have a question and answer conversation with them, and we'll go from there. Hello, welcome. How's it going?
Please find yourself comfortable in every seat. Okay.
So as you come in, be thinking of some questions for me. I'm going to answer questions. That's my primary goal. I'll share a little bit of information, but then please have a say. I look forward to the questions that you have for me about our program, and then I'll answer any questions that you have. So it's remember, I really want you to push me. Say, okay, what about this? What about that? Whatever the questions are. And then we'll get to it so that we get everything answered for anyone who has any questions at all. So I'm going to start with a question for you guys. Have you been briefed on what our programs are at all? Do you know a little bit about Stevens Henniger? Some of you, yes. I see a couple of you nodding yes, and some of you not so much. And so why don't I do a quick introduction of the programs, and then you guys ask me whatever questions you have, okay? Now, actually, before that, let me ask, what line of study will each of you do? Anyone interested in, we have 3 schools. We have a School of Business, a School of Healthcare, and then a School of Technology. So raise your hand if you're in for business. Who's our business students? Okay. Mostly MBA, right? Anyone for healthcare? Raise healthcare? Yeah. What about technology or information systems? Okay, so we got some of each, then welcome. So happy to have that. So those are the 3. And then has everyone here completed a bachelor degree?
Yep. Yes.
Everyone has, right? Anyone not? We got all master degree students. We're all pursuing master degree programs at this time then, right? So good. That's good. That's what we offer all levels: associate, bachelor, master. But the master is the one that's our flagship program, and it's the one that includes our work study program, our CPT. So who's familiar with CPT? Have you guys heard of CPT? You know what this is? No? No one. Okay, right. So let me explain. CPT stands for Curricular Practical Training. That's what CPT is. Okay? And what that means is that built into the program of study is an opportunity to work for some company. And it's not specifically... we're not a placement service. We're not a job-getting service. We're an educational institution. So when you're working with one of our partner companies, you should view what you're doing as part of the learning experience. You're in the job to get further education. That's what we do. We do hands-on, practical training type education. And in order to offer that type of education, we've partnered with several employment partners. And there's some significant companies. Some of our students are working with a company, it's called Dell ECM, which is a division of Dell, right? And then we work with Adobe, also a big tech firm. In fact, there are a lot of tech companies moving into, this is interesting to you if you're in information systems, a lot of tech firms moving into Salt Lake City, and it's we've earned a new nickname. there's Silicon Valley. Everyone's heard of San Jose area, Silicon Valley. Well, they're now calling Salt Lake City Silicon Slopes. It's because of so many tech companies moving in there. It's like a little Silicon Valley, only it's in the mountains, so they call it Silicon Slopes. So anyway, that's a beneficial piece of knowledge actually for all industries, because as the tech industry grows, so does hospitality industry, and so does even the medical industry. So does all of the stuff that any MBA or MHA or MIS student might be doing. There's a lot of job opportunities there. In fact, Utah has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the United States. It always has, well, not always, but for a long time we've had one of the lowest unemployment rates. Now, when you got a really low unemployment rate, what that means for folks that are looking for work opportunities is that many times there are more job opportunities than there are people to fill those job opportunities. We have a very specific need in the healthcare industry in that way. Healthcare is very kind of in tech as well. The MBA students, you guys have it nice because you can fit into any company. As long as your role is a business administrative role, then you can work in healthcare industry or tech industry or hospitality. You can work in banking and finance. You can work in, we have a company that's a logistics firm that's one of our partners. It's called Unishippers. Unishippers is interesting because they have a career track plan where they guarantee that guarantee is maybe the wrong word. They have a plan where if you stay in that plan, they assure you that you can, if you stay on track, then after year 3, you're assured to be earning more than $100,000 a year as part of their recruitment plan. And this is specifically for MBA students. And the nice thing is you aren't stuck in Salt Lake City with Unishippers. They are a international logistics firm. So globally, if you want to work in Europe, or if you want to work back in India, or you want to work in America, whatever it is that you settle in with Unishippers, then they see you through their entire career, or through they have a career plan for you. Let me put it that way. And so I'm just trying to give you an idea of some of the ideas of the job opportunities that there are as part of our curriculum. Now, let me talk about the program itself. Okay, these are master level classes, and that means they're kind of high level and they're hard classes, and you're going to be working full time during the day. So your classes though are at night. They last from 6 till about 8:30 or 9:30, depending on the course schedule. But each night you have that class 2 nights a week, and you only have class for 4 weeks. So each class, each course that you take is only 1 month long, roughly 1 month long. It's 4 weeks. So it's very quick, very intensive, and you only go to class a few times. So you got to study quickly, and then you're also working during the day. And the work, believe it or not, when you're taking the workload, actually counts for school credit. It's a course you're taking to do this job. Now, one of the questions you might be having is, well, if I'm doing this job, is it just an internship? And the answer is no. You actually get paid for the job as a job. That's part of the learning experience. So that's a rather detailed overview of the CPT program, Curricular Practical Training Program. Now, a lot of people, let me just answer a couple of questions that some people have asked me before. But I want you also, don't hesitate to have some questions in your mind. In a second, I'll start answering all your questions. People have asked me, is CPT a government, is it really legal for you to do it? Because a lot of people heard if you go over to America on an F1 student visa, you can't be working off campus, right? That's what people say. And that's by and large the case. That's true. It's only special programs that allow someone to work full-time for the majority of their program, for the duration of their program. In order to allow that, then we have to require each of our students get a job. It's not an option. That if you want to graduate from our program, you have to do a CPT experience with one of our employment partners. And so the way that we do that is that we require that immediately. You start getting a job and working in CPT so that you can accomplish enough of the clock hours in the job to call it a full course, a full CPT 4-credit course in our program. And so total credits there are 60, and you take 15 classes, some of which are 4 credits, some are 3, but the CPT all adds into part of those credits. So that's the very quick, no, not very quick at all. That was a very detailed and lengthy discussion of CPT. The question about whether or not it's allowed by the government is yes, it is. You can go to the website ice.gov, which is the Immigration and Customs website for all of the questions about what's legal, what's not legal. On ice.gov, if you just type in the search bar on the government website, CPT, it will bring you up a page that gives all the details that I've just described to you, how we administer our program, and they match up with how they say that a government CPT program needs to be administered. So the answer is yes. It is allowable by the government, and the way that we do it, we've worked very hard to put all the documentation in place and to create a program that fits the government mold for how CPT is supposed to be administered. But it is an important part of your learning experience. And I think, maybe I'll pause right there and just ask if you have any questions at this time about the program. If not, I'll go into schedule and stuff. But any questions? Yes?
How many hours are we allowed to work for the program?
It's actually 40 hours a week. It's a full-time job. Yeah, full-time. You can work full-time for up to, well, you can work full-time for the full 15 months of the program. Our master degree program is 15 months. You can work full-time for that full 15 months. But if you do, you won't qualify for OPT. If you have an interest in continuing your work or your employment after you've graduated, then you can only work full-time for up to 12 months. You can work full-time for up to 12 months and still qualify for OPT. And so we tell all of our students that when you get to the 11.5-month mark, then you need to tell your employer for these remaining 3.5 months, so you're going to go 15 months total, for this remaining 3.5 months, I'm going to go part-time. And if they allow you to go part-time for the remaining 3.5 months, you can keep working for the same employer for the full 15 months, but only go full-time for 11.5 months. That's our recommendation. Unless you don't care about OPT. If you don't want to do OPT, then you can keep working full-time for the full 15 months. So that's what's allowed on the full-time side of things. Good question. What other?
And, what about, like, obviously it's going to be on-campus selection, I guess, like companies will come and, hire you from there.
Well, yeah, let me walk you through that process. Actually, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it works that way. Sometimes we have on-campus job fairs. We do have that from time to time. But those are every few months. And we got intakes every single month. So if you're coming in whatever month it is, you don't want to have to wait until we have the job fair on campus where the employers come. So the way it works is that you'll be initially enrolled in what's called our WSO1. It's a workshop. It's a workshop course that trains you entirely on the CPT process. You get some training on how to build your resume. You get some training on how to conduct an interview properly, and you also get some training for skills on how to search for jobs when later down the road you need to be searching for your own job. But at the same time, you get direct coaching with a dedicated staff member whose job it is to place each student in a CPT program. Right now that individual's name is Josh Law, and Josh is the one who, it's his job to work with all of the students and to work with all the employers to make sure that there's job opportunities, and then to bring those job opportunities to you, the student, and say, hey, I talked to Unishippers, for example. They have this open position. You should go apply. Or I talked to another of our companies that a lot of our MBA students work at. It's called Grand America Hotels. Grand America Hotels has a really cool leadership program. It's in the hospitality industry, so I don't know if that's the industry you want or not, but it's great industry. Grand America, Wells Fargo Bank, it's a banking institution. Goldman Sachs, everyone knows Goldman Sachs. But so any of these firms, Josh, he's got relationships and partnerships, and he's tracking the job boards. And not only does he come to you and say, hey, here's a job, but he also gives you the same resources. Hey, here's the job boards. If you want to be doing your own research and then come to me and tell me which jobs you want to go after, he can give you coaching now on each of those jobs. But you got Josh Law is your guy, and he's kind of your placement guy. He's the guy with these relationships, so he helps you walk through the process of getting a job yourself. But here's the thing: we don't give you a job. Josh doesn't have the jobs. I don't have them. I can't sit there and say, okay, here you go. What's your name?
Jabbar.
Here you go, Jabbar. Here's your job. Come and this is the one I gave you. It doesn't work that way. The way it works is you get a job. That's the only way it can work. Because even if I came to you and I had the employer sitting here and whatever else, and you're interviewing, that employer needs to make a decision to hire that individual, right? Individually. And that's just the way it works. So we can't just hand you a job. What we do is we train you how to get a job, and we help you a lot with that. But it's an intensive process.
If you fail to crack the interview, let's say, so it's going to postpone the training session that we have at the campus.
The max amount of time that students go without finding a job is about 3 months. Now, I got to be honest, most of our Indian students have a job within 30 days, easily. And there's a reason for that. It's that, and I don't mean to stereotype too much, but it feels like most of the students that we have coming from India, for some reason, they have a willingness to get out there, to be assertive, to go find the thing that they need. Some of our students from other countries, typically, are very reserved, very shy. They don't want to do anything until someone says, here's exactly what to do. They won't try anything. So if I had any advice to you, it's to get out there. Just go be out there and do the best you can. Because at the end of the day, as much of we want to say that we've got really good supportive services and stuff like that, and I believe we do, but at the end of the day, it's you who got out there and got a job. Even if you used the services that we have for you, it didn't happen any other way than that you did it. That's the truth. And that's our goal, is to build independence in each of the individuals that come to our school. I know in India, you guys live with your parents long, right? I mean, mom and dad take good care of you. I also noticed at a restaurant, if I go down and sit down and they got a plate right here, if I go to reach for the spoon and get something onto my plate, they kind of slap my hand away and say, no, I'm going to get that. And someone does it for me, right? And I think that's really neat. It's a nice level of service. At the same time, I think that there's a lot of independence to be gained by coming to school in America. Just the very culture of being in the United States requires a level of independence that maybe people from different cultures didn't have back home. And that's okay. It's just different. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different way of doing things. And so we're excited to help you go make the most out of what you do. But I really appreciate your questions on what was it that you asked that I just was talking about?
How many hours can we work?
Yeah, how many hours you work, and then how do you actually get the job?
What if you don't get hired in the next 3 months?
If you don't get hired, so there's a time frame, right? I mean, if you don't get hired within 3 months, that you start getting into a critical phase. Because the working in the job counts for credit, and the program length is only 15 months long, right? If you go too long where you didn't work in the job, I think the total cutoff is about 4.5 or maybe 5 months. If you go 4.5 or 5 months and you didn't work in the job at all for that amount of time, then you'll be dropped from the program. I mean, that's the harsh reality, is that you cannot graduate if you don't have a job for a significant portion of the program. Here's the good news, is that 95% of our people get a job by month 3. So there is a 5% folks that don't get a job by month 3, by the 90-day mark. But that 5% are the ones that I'm talking about, who are not willing to go put their resume out there. They're not willing to go fill out the application and do the stuff to get the job. So here's my promise to you. If you want to get a job, I am certain you will get a job by 90 days. If you kind of just don't want to get a job,
then obviously
that's kind of on you, right? I mean, that's your problem. But that's a good question. It is a requirement. If you don't get a job within a certain amount of time frame, I think it's 4.5 months, then you're dropped from the program. So
okay.
It's like failing a class, right? If you failed a class or too many classes, then we can't keep you in the program. Nice thing on that, though, let me talk about failed classes. It happens. Sometimes the passing grade for a course for us is 3.0 out of 4. We got, 4 points is the very best. If you don't get a 3.0 or better in your master program, then that's counted as an unacceptable grade for the program. You'll have to repeat the class. If you fall below I think it's a 2.5 grade point average, and you have several classes where you do very poorly on and you don't repeat them in time and you don't get your grades back up, then if you have a low grade point average for more than 4 months, which is one full term, then you'll be dropped from the program. But here's the nice thing. We're talking about all these drop from the program things. It really is a very, very small percentage of our students that ever have that. We work really hard to make sure that you have all the resources you need to do well in class. We have a free tutoring center. Free, 100%. You don't pay for tutors, and they're there and they're willing. In fact, most of the time our tutors are actually international students. We try and hire tutors, especially for the master program, who come from the countries where the majority of our students are from. So in this case, India is where the majority of our students are going to be coming from in 2018. 2017 it was China. 2018 I think we'll have more from India. So we'll have some Indian tutors, I think, on site ready to help you with your coursework. There's other resources too. Each of your professors and your deans are very hands-on, and it's very small-scale school. Stevens-Henniger College has now, I think, 16 associated campuses. Okay, they're all individual campuses. But the nice thing is the way we build our campuses and our school structure is to keep it small. Anytime we have one campus grow to 1,000 students, we build another campus not far off from that campus, maybe 30 miles away. So for example, in the Salt Lake City area, we have the Salt Lake City Murray campus. We also have a satellite branch over on 21st, I'm sorry, about 41st South and 700 East. We've got some operations there. But in addition to that, we have a campus, a full campus in Provo, Utah, which is a 30-mile drive south. We have another full campus in Ogden, Utah, which is a 30 or 35-mile drive north. And we have another satellite of the Ogden campus in Layton, Utah. So 5 facilities and campuses just within about a 1-hour drive from each other, because that's where a lot of our growth has taken place, right? But up north, we have campuses in Idaho, two at least in Idaho, and we have another one in Utah, in Logan, and then St. George. Anyway, we've got all these campuses because as we grow, we like to keep it really small scale. We like to keep it so that when you come to this school, it feels like a small, distinctive school. That's what we want. We want you to feel like you know your classmates, you know who they are, you know your teachers, they know you, and they're involved in your life a little bit. If you don't come to class, you're not there, we expect them to reach out and say, hey, we need you in class. And because, again, attendance is mandatory too. You can't not attend. And this is more of a visa issue. So students on an F1 visa, a student visa in the United States, need to be attending what's called an on-ground course. Online is not allowed for the majority of your courses. I think there's a percentage of it, but the way that we do our program is called a hybrid program. It already builds in some online components. So we've already maxed out the online part that you can do. So we don't offer any courses online. You got to take them all on ground. Now, to be enrolled in an on-ground course, you have to attend that 2 nights a week, 4 weeks in a row. If you miss attendance for a certain amount of time, again, you lose that class, and we lose you as a student. And so be in class, attend regularly, and everything will be great. But that was a great question. I don't even remember the question. I think I answered 6 other questions without them being asked. But what else do you guys have? Anything?
Let's move on to the fee structure.
The fee structure is like this. The total fees for the program is $29,280 US. There is a $3,000 scholarship available for anyone who has a 3.0 GPA and submits a scholarship, an approved scholarship essay. Now listen, let me tell you something about essays and statement of purpose, all right? We've had a problem, and not just here, everywhere, right? There's been a problem sometimes. People will copy an essay or take something they think is a good idea, put it on paper, and just submit it. That's not what we're looking for. And I realize that sometimes that's appropriate. In the right setting, it's you do the research and you put the information over here. In your scholarship essay and your statement of purpose, we view the copy-paste kind of situation as what's called plagiarism. It's a violation of the standard of original writing ethic that we expect at our school. And that's not just true of the essay and the statement of purpose. It's true of your coursework too. The copy-paste model is not the appropriate model at our school. It's not what we're intending to do. And so as an educational paradigm, we expect 100% authentic work. And so if someone submits a scholarship essay, and by the way, we run all of the scholarship essays and all of the statements of purpose and all of your assignments at class as well, they're all run through this database that collects all of the submittals. And once we run one through, it's in the database. And so this is a cooperative database. It's a global cooperative database among educational institutions that if someone has written this paper, whatever it is, it's now in the database. And when we scan yours in and run it through the database, it automatically checks to see what % might have been copy-pasted, right? And it tells us, okay, well look, this guy's statement of purpose is identical to one that's available on the web over here, or for sale by this guy over here. You know, I mean, there's some stuff like that. And sometimes it's legitimate, where you're doing the research out of the textbook, right? And you want to cite this quote in the textbook, so you just write it down in your paper. And some of that's legitimate. Max, though, is 30% as a plagiarism rule. If anything goes above 30% of quoted material, and if it's properly documented. If you're quoting material, you've got to put it in quotes, set it aside, put a footnote, say this was quoted from this source. Max is 30% of properly quoted material in any submitted paperwork. I'm getting into a little bit of detail, right, of how the coursework's done. But I did want to make the point that you got to fill out on your scholarship essay and on your statement of purpose, it must be 100% authentic. No quoted work. And they're simple questions. It's, why do you want to go to school? If you can't in your own words answer why I want to go to school, then we got a problem. You got to be able in your own words say, here's my goals. This is my statement of purpose. It's very simple. Same thing with the scholarship essays. The scholarship essays are simple questions. They're something like, tell me about one great accomplishment you had in your undergraduate study. Or tell me about what's something that inspires you. You know, these are personal response essays. And so when you write that essay, write it. Don't worry so much about your English. A lot of people, the reason they want to do copy-paste is because they want to make sure, oh, my English is going to be really good. That's not what we're looking for as much in these essays. We care a little bit, but we have an English requirement, right? If you met the English requirement to go to our school, be that through our certificate program or through the regular IELTS or TOEFL score, or whatever way you met our English requirement, then you met it. Don't worry about the rest, all right? Your English is going to improve the more you're interacting there in the United States. But what we care about is to see your own thoughts. We read those. Our intake team reads every single one of the statement of purpose and the scholarship essay. We kind of want to know you guys and you girls that come to school from your own perspective. And the voice that you use, even if the English isn't 100% perfect, that's part of the beautiful person that you are. And so we're looking for some character. So don't be afraid ever just to write your own essay, even if you're nervous about whatever it is you might be nervous about. Don't ever be nervous enough to copy-paste, because the copy-paste model in the U.S. just simply isn't acceptable, not in an academic setting. So write a scholarship essay, and then you'll qualify for a $3,000 scholarship if you have the 3.0 or better GPA. So that brings from $29,280 down to $26,280, your total tuition. So here's how the fees work, is that we bill an initial deposit of $3,500. That's for every incoming student. We must receive a $3,500 initial deposit before day one of study. So that's when that's billed. And then after that, we break up the remaining amount by 15 periods. So 15 months. We charge monthly. We bill monthly. So you'll pay the initial $3,500 on or before day one of study, And then sometime you get a financial plan created, and I don't know how they decide the exact date on which your billing period starts and ends, but it's always going to be 45 days or less between when you start and that 45-day mark. So you'll be billed your monthly payment right after. You pay the $3,500, and then somewhere between 30 and 45 days from your first day of school, you have this payment that becomes a monthly payment. It's due. If you're not on scholarship, the $29,280 minus $3,500 divided by 15 months is $1,718.67. So $1,718.67. That's the monthly fee for the $29,280 program. Healthcare is actually $29,210, so a difference of $70. I don't know why that difference, but you're special. You get the $70 discount off a $29,000 program. Anyway, so the regular fee is $1,718.67, and then if you qualified for scholarship, then it's simply reduced by $200, so it's $1,518.76. There is a prepay discount, but the prepay is a lump sum. If you pay the entire program up front before you complete the program, then you get a 5% discount off of the entire thing. So that's for people who have just a big savings account, want to pay for the program and not worry about monthly payments. You can qualify for that one lump sum prepayment 5% discount. So that's how the fee structure works. There are no other discounts or other opportunities. We are a nonprofit school. We don't have a large endowment or investors putting a bunch of money to sponsor people for scholarship. The $3,000 international scholarship that we offer is as generous as we can be and still operate, because the truth is the only income we have is student tuition. If we don't collect student tuition, it's hard for us to run the school. So that's where we are. Let me speak to that other note real quick, that we are a nonprofit organization, and that's something that's important to us, that we have at the core of our mission broadening the horizons of our students, making career outcomes far more significant than they could be without the credentials that we offer. And so that's at the core of what we do, more than any other mission. So, what other questions do you have for me, guys?
What is the IELTS score you require for getting admission in your school?
What is the what? Sorry?
What is the IELTS score you require?
IELTS is 6.0.
6.0.
We require 6.0.
Overall or in each?
Overall. It doesn't matter what's in each one.
What's the
But right
course duration for business?
15 months. It's a 15 months, and it's modular. We have starts every single month. So right now, February 5th is our next start date, coming right up. Right after that, our next start date will be March 5th. And then we got one in April and May and so forth. Every single month we have a start. So you run one class, 1 month, next class, next month. So it's not the typical, okay, I got a 4-month term, I'm going to take 3, 4, 5 classes, whatever it is in my 4 months. It's 1 month, 1 class, 15 months in a row. It goes in a circle. So there are some classes that build on each other, like you got to take Accounting 1 before you take Accounting 2. But those all line up in a way that it doesn't matter when you come in. You can take the prerequisite courses necessary in the right order if you stay in. So it's a 15-month class, 15-month program, and that actually, the way that's counted is 2 academic years. An academic year is 2 terms, right? Our terms are 4 months. So if you take 2 4-month terms, that makes 1 academic year. And so we put them, instead of any breaks, we don't have like a big winter break, we don't have a big summer break, we just 1 month, 1 course for 15 months, and then it's done. That's the way it works. Good question. What else?
Sir, for masters, GMAT also requires?
We don't require GMAT or GRE.
GRE only IELTS requires.
The only thing that's requirement is the IELTS score, and also that you have a 2.5 or better grade point average from your bachelor degree program. Now, we are a 125-year-old institution, so we've been around for a long time. And there have been talks and times when we've looked at different requirements for different programs, such as the GRE or GMAT. The reason we've opted not to have those isn't so that we get a lower caliber student or anything like that. It's all about the training that we offer at the institution. Same thing with the job placement. A lot of master programs require that you have 2 years of work experience before you even apply. We don't require that because our program itself is designed around the career. It's not as strong of an. Let me be very frank here. If your aspirations are research and academia, you want to be a professor at a school with a doctorate degree, and your whole goal is academic in nature, this is not the best school for you. I'll be very honest in that, okay? And these GRE, GMAT, all of those things are academic measures that kind of dictate performance on what a good research institution is going to require. We are not a research institution, we're a professional or career institutions. Our job is to make students who have a good credential and the skills necessary to perform job functions and practical functions in their career that they wouldn't have been able to perform without the education that we provide. So rather than measure your academic prowess or abilities in your academic studies or the research side of things, we measure your resume. That is a key ingredient for whether or not you can come to our school. Now, even people with a weaker resume, one that doesn't have a lot of work experience, we take them because our goal isn't necessarily to take everyone at a certain level. It's to take people at whatever level they're at and raise them to the next level or the next level. That's our goal. That's the only goal. And so I hope everyone's not confused or disturbed about who we are as an institution. We're not Harvard or Stanford or even Purdue or Brigham Young or Utah State or University of Utah. I mean, we're not a top 100 school. We're not even ranked. We are a career institution designed around granting degrees and credentials that expand your career opportunities. But let me speak to that for just a second, because I do believe our degrees do expand your career opportunities. They are recognized, we as an institution, Stevens Henniger College, is recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as an institution of higher learning. That's a special designation that we have to earn from the Department of Education by doing certain things. One of those things is to maintain accreditation with a Department of Education approved accrediting body. Our accrediting body is the ACCSC, or the Accrediting Commission for Career Schools and Colleges. ACCSC has been our longtime accrediting partner. They've reviewed our programs, they do site visits regularly, and they issue accreditation based on the viability of our programs to accomplish what we state we will accomplish with our students, which in our case, by and large, is what I just said. We take people at a certain career level, give them a credential that advances their abilities to pursue a higher career level. They measure us on that. Department of Education, U.S. Department of Education, has approved ACCSC as our accrediting body. ACCSC has approved us and accredited us as an institution, and Department of Education has recognized that accreditation and given us the designation of Institution of Higher Learning. Now, that's an important designation because the ministries of education globally, around the world, look at that list of institutions of higher education or higher learning, and they, by and large, they mirror whatever the U.S. Department of Education puts on their list. So if we're on the U.S. Department of Education list, usually we're on a Ministry of Education list of approved schools that if you want to say that you got a degree from a U.S. school, you've got to be on this list. That's how they make that designation. And in India, we do show up on that list. In China, we do show up on that list. We are an approved institution from which you can say, I got a U.S. master degree that's approved by Department of Education. It's recognized. Globally, it's recognized.
It's not affiliated to any university, you say?
I'm sorry?
It's not affiliated to any university?
We are a university in ourselves. We're designated as a university. We have that. We don't have any other affiliation. And so no, we're not the Harvard School of Stevens Henniger College. We are Stevens Henniger College. Let me talk about that name college, though, because it's kind of a confusing idea. Some people hear the word college and they think, oh, you're a junior school. You're a two-year school. Maybe you offer, you don't offer full university degrees. In the United States, when this school was founded in 1891, the designation of college was very different from university. Through the years, the idea of a college and a university have come together, and in about 1960 in America, it was virtually indistinguishable to say this is a college or this is a university. So at this point, we haven't changed the name. We considered changing it just to remove the clarity issues that we sometimes run into about are you a university or are you a junior college? But we opted not to change the name just because we want to retain the attachment to the vision and the mission that the founders of this university set up back in 1891. So we've kept the name Stevens-Henniger College. But we are a university, and we are independently a university recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as such. So this is a university master degree program that's recognized by your government, recognized by our government. Our nonprofit status, by the way, is also recognized by the U.S. Offices who made the decisions for H-1B status. Now, I'm not here pushing an agenda for immigration or for H-1 that you seek an H-1B work visa, but I can tell you that students that graduate from our master degree programs do qualify at the master level for the H-1B lotteries, and that's something that's important to some students. But that's not something that I think you should concern yourself with as you pursue a program. I think you should concern yourself with the educational opportunities that are provided and how it will advance your career in the long run. Any immigration questions or long-term work opportunities and things, those are decisions for down the road. That's the attitude I would suggest you adopt, especially in any conversations that you have with anyone else about it. My recommendation is that you look very seriously at your educational career and that you retain a vision of your career as it exists right now. Whatever you're doing right now, right here, is probably good. Maybe it can be better at some point, but whatever you're doing is a track that you're on. And I recommend that you maintain a vision of expanding that track, and maybe this degree over in America helps build the track that you're on in some way or another, and I highly recommend that you develop a sense of how that works. That's the way that your degree is going to best serve you, in my estimation. So, just some thoughts there. Again, that was a little bit of opinion from Blaine Hone, but it is my opinion, and I want to make sure that I offer what I can.
Apart from CPT courses, there are any other workshops which the university provides?
We have a CPT workshop, and then we also have some certification programs, but those are mostly in the technical field. We don't have any in, are you MBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have any specific certificates for MBA students, although there are some that when you ask your dean on campus, he will know of some third party, like not issued by our school, third party. I think there's an HR or a project management or a
Entrepreneurship.
What one?
Entrepreneurship.
We don't have a certificate in entrepreneurship, and I don't know of any third party. I know of project management and HR certificates that you can get by third party. I don't know of any third party entrepreneurship certificate, but I do know that we have specific dedicated coursework in entrepreneurship. So if that's your interest, the other thing that we have is we have a lot of our CPT employment partners that are very entrepreneurial in nature. Some startups that we're working with, some people that are working with investment capital, and they got to do the whole entrepreneurship
like if we are
thing.
doing internship for startup companies, after the course is completed, then we'll be able to join the same startups after the 15 months of course.
You have the ability to do so legally. I mean, what you do with your career is certainly up to you and the employers that you work with. If you have that desire, then yes, you have the ability to do so. You have to apply through the OPT process, but most of our students who do apply for OPT get it. There's very few that don't. Those that don't get OPT usually don't get it because they've had some violation. They've done something to violate the terms of their visa or whatever, and then when the research goes into do we grant this applicant OPT or not, it comes out. They say, okay, well this guy was here on a study visa, but he was working, offsite on an unapproved program or something like that, right? I don't know what it is, but if you violate your visa stuff, you may not qualify for OPT. But most of our students do qualify for OPT. Anyone that applies can keep working for the same company they worked for in CPT, and a lot do. A lot don't too, though. A lot of people, they finish their program in Salt Lake City, And now they got 1 year for everyone except for MIS, Master Information System gets up to 3 years if they get the extension OPT. But they got 1 year of working, and they can work anywhere in the United States as long as it's in their program. And so some people go live in Florida or California or New York for a little while and says, hey, I just want to see what that's like to live over in another area. But most of the people, believe it or not, even the ones that come and say, I'm going to finish the program and then I'm going to go to New York, right? Yeah. Most of them, even the ones that say that, guess what? They don't. I don't. There's something about Utah that becomes a little bit special to most people. It happened to me. I didn't like Utah growing up. In fact, I grew up in the state of Idaho, just north of Utah. And we used to say, you know why Idaho is so windy? It's because Utah sucks so bad, right? But that was just me growing up. I didn't like Utah. But then I moved here because work. I found a job, right? And I was working for this company, not this company, but different company. And I just liked it. I just stayed around. And now I've been in Utah for 15 years or something like that. 2003. Was it 15 years? So I've been in Utah 15 years, and I don't want to live anywhere else. It's a really pretty area, and the people are really friendly. I'm a good sample of the people you're going to meet in Utah. They're like me. Most of them are like me. I just a guy, right? I got no agenda. I just have what I am. This is what you see is what you get. And we're a what you see is what you get kind of people in Utah. So if you can get along with that and enjoy it, I think you'll like the state of Utah. It's nestled, the Salt Lake City, where our campus is nestled in under the mountains. So there's some really tall mountains growing up right out of Salt Lake City. Hang on, I don't know if this is still working. Oh. Maybe it is. Looks like it might be.
I don't get some.
Okay. so I don't have the login, so there it is. So we're nestled just under the mountains in Salt Lake City, so there's a lot of skiing. And the really adventurous ones of you can try skiing. We are a 4 seasons state, so that means we get snow in the winter, right? Maybe something you're not used to here in Hyderabad.
In India.
Or in India, right? So we get snow in the wintertime. That's something you'll have to prepare for. We had a lot of people showing up in sandals. Anyone got sandals on right now? Flip-flops? You don't? You all have shoes? That surprises me. Why you all got shoes on? No one's got sandals?
All the educated people here, so that's why we don't wear sleepers.
Okay, well, we had a lot of people showing up in December wearing the sandals into school. And we're like, you gotta be crazy. They were okay with it. It's just, hey, this is my style. I'm wearing sandals. Yeah, my toes were a little cold, but it's okay. I'm gonna survive. So anyway, we got skiing. We got really good transportation. There's a light rail, which is just a very fast train in between all the stops all around the valley. It's a 5-minute walk from our campus doorstep to the light rail. The housing community, we don't have on-campus housing. Like I said, we just build kind of one campus little community. But we build them close to housing communities. So just across the street from us, there are actually 3 apartment complexes that all have a special agreement with our school. Most of the time, when you come set up an apartment in the United States, you got to show a social security number so that they can do a background check. How many of you have a social security number by raising hand? Oh, you don't? That's weird. Why not? Because people living in America that contribute to Social Security, that's who has Social Security numbers. And when you get fresh off the plane, you came from India, and you just get off the plane, where are you going to go? You have an idea? You're going to go lay your head somewhere and sleep somewhere? I hope you got somewhere, right? We're going to help you with that, okay? We have student ambassadors who coordinate your arrival. They'll get you a temporary housing place, and then they'll immediately introduce you to where you can sign up for your regular apartment. And we have shared apartments and we have single apartments, just depending on what you want. They aren't us. Again, they're a third-party apartment community. But this apartment community, 3 of them, right across the street from us, have all agreed to issue apartment contracts to our students, even if they don't have Social Security. They acknowledge and recognize that. Even if we had some super-duper process where you could go get Social Security right off the plane, you get off the plane, they issue a Social Security card, and you give it to them, they're going to do a background check on that Social Security card. How valuable is a background check on a Social Security card that was issued 2 hours ago? It doesn't show any background. You don't have any background for them to check. There's no credit history. There's no crime report. There's nothing attached to this, right? So it's kind of foolish for international students, this requirement. And we had this conversation with the apartment communities. So they'll issue you a contract even without that. And it's kind of nice for our international students to have some place that they can go while they get all their issues all sorted out. So yeah.
After completing our 2 semesters, can we take a break?
You can. So taking a break is okay. There's a couple of things. There's a process by which to take a break if you want to come back home or you got other issues going on. One is we highly recommend that you do it in those 4-month increments. So if you need to take a break, don't do it like right on month 7 or do it on month 4, do it on month 8. That really helps. It's possible to do it otherwise, but what happens if we do it off of not on the semester things? One, your financial situation can be thrown off a little bit because when we take a break, we have to calculate a refund payment based on the term for which you were billed. Even if you've been making your monthly payments regularly, it doesn't match up exactly with the billing of a semester bill. And so if you're going to not be at the school for some time, they have to calculate it as though you're just completed and not coming back. And then that means they have to calculate your refund amount. Or if you took only a partial of a semester, then they owe you back some money over that semester. And sometimes it works out where you don't get all your money back the way that I think you should. Well, or that seems the most likely way that you calculate it, because the way they calculate your refund is interesting. So the way to avoid that concern is to take a break on the ends of semesters. The other issue is scheduling. So, and this is the harder issue for our registrar, that you're set up in a 1-month, 1-course kind of situation for 15 months. If you break that chain, then all of a sudden you've got to join a different cohort when you come back. And that cohort won't match up identically with the schedule that you put in. So there might be some concurrent enrollment moments where if you take a break for some amount of time, there will be a period coming up that you'll have to be taking 2 courses at a time or something like that to try and fit it all together. Or that you find that you had to have an extra spot on the end or something like that. Your schedule gets what I call wonky a little bit when you take a big break. But the answer is yes, it is possible. Yes, we will accommodate it. But there is a process where we check certain things to make sure we can get you back in the schedule and accomplish the rest of your education. Okay, I got to be honest. I am a little embarrassed because you guys ask simple questions. Can you take a break? A simple answer would be, yeah, it's a process, but yeah. I should have just left it at that, right? I don't know why I give all these details, but I give you all the details. So, anyway, which way do you want it? You want the short answers or you want the long answers?
The long answer itself.
You're okay with
easier for us to figure it out about the US college and everything.
Okay.
The way how you to take the things deeply, it will be very easy for us to understand how the college is all about.
Okay, so you want me to keep doing long answer? Okay, all right.
I'm done with my answer. You can ask.
You're done. Okay. Well, if you
further.
change your mind and you got another question, then feel free. I'm going to take a drink of my Coca-Cola. What other questions do you guys have? No? Anything? No one asked if we have a sponsored cricket league or a cricket team at our school. Anyone here play cricket? You do play? You play?
Yes.
Okay, so in 2016, we did have a school-sponsored cricket team. And in Utah, believe it or not, there is a cricket league. And we were now the cricket league in Utah is not a school-based league. It's just people in Utah that like playing cricket, most of whom are from the sub-Indian continent. A few others, I guess, but most of them are from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. So we sponsored the first Utah school cricket team. We were the Stevens Henniger College Jaguars. We had the school mascot, Jaguars. And now, in 2017, we didn't sponsor the league because there was not enough interest. How many does it take to have a cricket team? 8 players or 16? Or?
12.
12?
players.
One substitute.
11?
15 players.
11 players.
15 players.
11,
I think we decided
11 will be playing, 3 will be substitutes.
Okay, but our minimum is 16. If we get a roster of 16 people that are interested from the school,
There is no proper team for the college.
where's our property?
Proper team for the college, like cricket
Proper
team.
team. He asking proper
The
team.
only fixed team is play the tournament in the college, cricket tournaments. The
I'm not-
next team.
I don't understand the question. I'm telling you, we will sponsor a team if you guys want a team. But we got to have enough interest. We got to have enough people ready for the team.
He has a team
So,
sponsor when he-
I'm just saying, when you come over, be thinking cricket a little bit, okay? Now, the other thing is, if we sponsor this team and we pay the fees for your league membership and some of your practice time and your equipment, all this stuff, right? We pay the fees and you guys doing this. You got to win, all right? If we're paying all that, we want a winning team.
Yes, yes.
I'm teasing. No, but any other questions about programs? We've covered tuition. I covered schedule. I've covered the modular study and the monthly intake. I talked about plagiarism a little. I talked about. Did I talk about our staff and our faculty?
Yes, you did. You mostly had the same. The most of the students, whatever the students majority is, you had the same.
Oh, that's the tutoring, right? We try and hire tutors that match the places that our students are coming from. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our deans and our professors there at school. We hire people who have work experience, hands-on work experience. They must also have the higher level degrees, right? A doctorate and master degree. That's the only professors that we got. But we hire doctorate and professor, and doctorate and master degree professors who have really strong work experience. That's really critical to us. They need to be able to tell you how the reality of the job works, not just the theory. They know the theory, and they got that, but the reality of how jobs works. And so we're really proud of our faculty for what they've accomplished in actual workforce accomplishments. And that's what we hope you guys can aspire to as well. So, thank you for your time, you guys. Sounds like we're kind of out of questions, right? I mean, if you think of something more, don't hesitate to ask. It's really been a pleasure to sit here and talk with you. Let me just wrap up with my thoughts, why I'm here. Okay, so I left a career in business development. I was a business development consultant, and I had my own consulting firm. It was exciting. I liked it, but I wanted something special, something more than just how do I help companies earn money. That's cool. I'm proud of that, but to me, there's something deeper to life than how do we earn money. That just is something that's inside me that I want to contribute. And so when I was a consultant, I hired onto the board. I was looking for just an opportunity to serve, just a service. I was an advisory board for the College of Business at Stevens Henniger College. So I would sit in on meetings. We would counsel about curriculum and ideas that might help build the programs, and that was rewarding to me. But it came at one of our board meetings, someone mentioned the international program. I said, I didn't even know that Stevens Henniger had an international program. And long story short, I got the opportunity to be a part of this program. They said, Blaine, if you want to help build this program as a direct part of our team, we want you to do that. So I came on board, and I was really happy to do so. But here's why. It's because when I look at what the college does, Stevens Henniger College seeks to provide better outcomes, broaden horizons of the students that they have coming to their school. But B, to be a part of what I call the American dream of offering American education, not just education, American work opportunities, entrepreneurship, even technical stuff, all the stuff that we do is, to me, a significant part. Now, there's a famous singer by the name of Bono from U2. You ever guys heard the song U2? I mean, the group U2. They're from Ireland. But this guy Bono, he goes around and he now is an advocate. He was a rock star. He was actually a Christian musician for a while, then a rock star, and now an advocate. And he's an icon. Everyone knows Bono. And he's out there. One of the thoughts that he shared I think it was a university address. I'm not sure where he was speaking, but he shared this thought. He said, "I love the American idea, the idea of America, because America isn't this, this American dream that we talk about. There's no copyright on what America did. We don't own it. It's not, and we call it America, but the truth is, it's this idea of independence that I talked about earlier. It's that we can all go out there and make something more of ourselves if we reach out and grab it. But all we need is the right tools, the right opportunities, educational or career introduction or whatever the stuff is. But this idea of going out and grabbing it is now global. And yeah, it had the word America on it, but it's a global idea now. It's for all of us. And it happens here. This American dream happens in India. I see it all the time. I was talking to a business owner recently that he had nothing, and he built this small tech firm, started doing outsourcing, and now it's ginormous. He's got ginormous in my estimation. Ginormous for one guy. He's got about 750 employees working for him, all doing this tech stuff, and he's making really good money. But again, I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about the contribution that he's making to this global. So he's living in my estimation. I don't mean to be, there's no arrogance here. I got no arrogance in calling something the American dream. I got just what I came from, right? But he's got this vision of, I'm going to independently go build this thing because I figured out how to do it, and here I did it, and it's awesome. And I benefit now 750 people, employees. I provide a livelihood for their lives. I provide services to companies who also provide goods and services and livelihoods to the people that work for them. I wanted to be a part of sharing that. And I don't know what you want to go to school for. Whatever it is, I hope you reach your aspirations. I want to be at the school to help fuel those aspirations. That's what I'm in it for. If you want to know what I'm in it for, it's for that. And I love being here. I love being in India. It's so fun to see this picture of the American flag behind me, or Statue of Liberty with some stars and stripes, whatever. Because to me, this speaks to something that resonates with all of us. We don't have to be American to have this dream. And again, I want to remove any kind of idea of arrogance by calling it an American dream. It's the dream. We're living the dream. So I look forward to having each of you at my school or at some other school. Wherever you go, I hope you don't lose sight of your own sense of independence, your own sense of self-direction and accomplishment, that you want to do what you set out to accomplish. And I hope you give back and make your life meaningful, because at the end of the day, what you give is so much more valuable than anything you could ever hope to accumulate or receive. So thanks for being here. Thanks for your time, and I appreciate your attention. Let's go. I look forward to having you at school. Welcome to our school. We'll see you around. Okay. See you in America. How about that? All right. See you in America. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you later. Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks. Nice to meet all of you guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Good luck. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate meeting you. All right. We'll see you. One more, right? Okay. We'll see you.
Actually, I wanted to ask,
Yes.
Is the international business school valuable after if I come back to my country and work for some reputable
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's recognized in your country, and it's recognized as a U.S. degree, a U.S. master degree from
Like
an international
many
business.
universities does not give you international business. There are very few universities.
Only a few universities give you an international business degree. Ours is just an MBA. So I don't know, if there's some special designation for an international business degree, I'm not sure about what that would look like for the American schools. And so that's something, the better question would be directed to whoever it is that you want to recognize that degree. I would go ask them. Or if you want to give me their institution and I talk to them, then I'm happy to. But if you have someone specific that you want to recognize our school, then you need to ask that person if they recognize our school. Does that make sense? I'm not sure I answered the question. But it sounds like a designation where it's up to them whether or not they're recognizing what we're talking about. I can tell you, government-wise, we're recognized by the Indian government as a bona fide master degree from the United States institution. So that's all I got. You work for Cognizant? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. What do you do?
Healthcare solutions.
Nice. I've heard of them. We had another student with an application just recently that's also working for Cognizant. So, yeah, very cool. All right, thanks, sir. Nice to meet you.
Right, same here.
All right.
But just wait, I'm coming. One last thanks.
I do what?
Thanks, not.
Oh, I say a last thanks here? Oh, okay.
Thank you for watching.
No, seriously, thank you for watching. It's a pleasure to be here. I do look forward to working with the students at our school. Like I said, this is a much more meaningful role than doing it for the money or any other purpose. I am passionate about the education and about the opportunity that we provide at Steven Senator College. Look forward to having you at our school. Thanks.